Hey folks, it's Jared Manninen from the website TahoeTrailGuide.com. Today I came prepared for a little bit of crust skate skiing. Last time I came out here to ski down in Hope Valley was last week when I was filming the video about buying one set of boots for both off-track and on-track cross-country skiing. And I was lamenting not having my skate gear with me because even though it's only March 2nd right now, it's prime time spring skiing conditions. So fun thing to do in the spring is to skate ski over crust. You have to time it right. You don't want to get out at the first light or first thing in the morning. You want to wait a little bit so that some of that snow can get baked and soften up a little bit. And then you want to get out of the snow before everything gets cooked and turns to sticky mashed potatoes. But I got out here probably a little bit late. It's okay though, I don't mind. So I brought dedicated skate skis today. They're 187 centimeters, which are a little bit long for me, but they help span some of the gaps here that I'm punching through in the snow. And then I've just brought some really basic pair of aluminum poles for skate skiing, well, at least the skate ski height, I should say. But these ones are kind of a lower end pole, so they have big wide baskets and don't plunge into the snow quite as much as the poles that I would normally use at a groomed resort where the snow is firm. Another trick you want to embrace when doing a little bit of crust skating is that, wow, yeah, variable conditions. But what I was going to say is, don't do what I'm doing right now, which is going through trees. The reason for that is that open meadows and just big open fields are a lot easier to deal with because all the snow gets consolidated and melts and freezes equally, whereas in the trees like I am right now, you have all kinds of shadows, you have snow that's protected from the sun for a fair portion of the day, so you end up with like firm patches, and then you also end up with really soft and mushy patches, those patches that get baked. So it's a bit challenging going through the trees, but it's an adventure, so it's all good. Sometimes you just have to go through patches of forest in order to get to bigger meadows. And I'm hoping that I'm going to find a little bit more open terrain beyond these trees here, because the bottom line is sometimes those meadows or those open fields that you are able to crust ski are finite, and there's just not enough mileage to make it even more fun. You can do laps, you know, there's no question about that, but sometimes it's nice to just get a longer ski session in. I've been pretty timid on some of my push-offs because the snow is pretty challenging, and I've been sinking in spots that are like, 6 inches deep. So we've had a really challenging snowpack this season, with there being this long and persistent weak layer underneath some fresh snow, but not enough to really smash it all down so that it's a uniform density. And for the most part, that's fine as long as you know what the score is going in, but it does make for pretty treacherous and surprising conditions. I think I'm going to just call this the end of the line for today. Well, as far as my turnaround point goes, I still got to go back to the Jeep. But the area that I'm in now is just so filled with tons of trees, variable snow, and a lot of little gullies. And I just don't want to be dealing with that on these skate skis. Like I said, the open meadows and broad open patches of land are usually ideal for skate skiing in the spring, off trail and off track. If you can't do technique, if you don't have the space, i.e. between the trees and that sort of thing, or you don't have a firm and consistent surface, it can be really challenging, and you just kind of find yourself muddling through the forest, slipping and sliding. Had I been on classic skis, I could negotiate this a lot easier, but today was a skate ski day, so we're gonna call it what it is, and I'm gonna go back and find some sunshine and open terrain. If it sounds like there's a bunch of cars driving by throughout this video, it's because I'm literally about 30 feet away from the highway. It's not a bad commute though, all things considered. A couple other tips for spring skiing, or skiing in spring-like conditions, are, hydrate, wear sunscreen, make sure you're dressing properly, which is generally a lot lighter than you might normally dress. This goes for classic or skate skiing. It doesn't matter what type of skiing you're doing. When that sun is a little bit higher and it's a little bit more intense, once spring gets around, it can just really cook you pretty good out here. And you're already doing a really physical and aerobic activity. So being protected against that intense sun, especially since your skin's been pretty much covered up all winter, is imperative. Another thing to remember, eye protection. I don't wear it all the time when I'm making these videos, just so there's a little bit more of a personal connection. You can see me looking back at you on your screen, but very important. So I use a lot of times these mountaineering type goggles that have the bit on the sides of the eyes to protect my eyes, because all of this snow just reflects light right up into your face. And that brings me to another point. When you're putting sunscreen on, make sure you're putting it under your chin, under your nose, because all that sun just radiates off the snow from all kinds of different angles beyond just from on high. So you can really come away with a nice scorching suntan if you're not careful. Same goes for lips too, using some sort of sun protection on your lips, because they'll get baked just as easily as any other part of you. one of the things I wanted to point out too about skate skiing in the backcountry, and even just classic skiing in the backcountry, right? Either one, is that if you're not training or practicing with any kind of frequency at a groomed resort in an ideal, quote unquote, ideal situation, you're bound to develop some bad habits or start to develop some things that are less than ideal. And what I'm noticing today, just because it's right now and it's happening, is that one, I'm dropping, whoa, god dang, variable terrain. One, I'm dropping my shoulder a lot when I'm poling, and that's because my poles are plunging into the snow way too much, right? They shouldn't be penetrating the snow more than an inch or two. And as a result, when I go to push off with the ski pole and it plunges 6 inches, then my whole body kind of lurches down. Same goes for pushing off. As you saw me just stumble around right there, the snow is pretty soft underneath, so I get really nervous about pushing off with too much aggressiveness or assertiveness, because as soon as I push off too hard, the ski is going to bury, and then I'm going to pretty much go nowhere, because all that energy that I'm trying to push off from one ski to the next is going to go right down in the snow. So regardless of what type of skiing you're doing, whether it's classic or skating in the backcountry, you just need to be conscious and know what's going on. Know that you are making some changes to your technique based on those conditions, and those conditions not being ideal. So you're bound to develop some type of bad habit here and there. The trick is just to be conscious of those things that you're doing so that you don't actually carry that into your lifelong practice, or it doesn't become your style of cross-country skiing. You want to shoot for the ideal, and just know that that's not always going to be the situation. So we adapt and we become flexible in order to negotiate all terrain. But as soon as we can get back to that idealized form, we should. All right, folks, nothing too deep and profound today. Just wanted to get outside and play on snow for a couple of hours. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or feedback, post in the comment section below. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, and then check out TahoeTrailGuide.com. I actually have two articles specific to spring cross-country skiing, so those may be of interest to you if any of these concepts were interesting to you in this video. Check it out. And I also have a Patreon and PayPal.me option if you feel compelled to contribute in a financial way to the health and longevity of Tahoe Trail Guide, as well as this YouTube channel. So thanks for those who contribute already and those who will contribute in the future. I appreciate all your help. Yeah, I'm going to just head back to the Jeep and call it a day. Kind of getting hungry. Take care, everyone.